What's up, guys? Welcome back to Among the Fins. My name is Aaron, and today we're going to be checking out the new album, A Quiet Place to Die, by the band Alpha Wolf. Alpha Wolf is a metalcore band from Australia. They started about 2013. A Quiet Place to Die is their second studio album, and I admit that I have gotten quite a few requests and people saying that I should do a review on the singles that came out for this album, and I kind of, in a way, blew them off. I told a couple people I was going to wait till the album came out just because I've been so psyched about this album, and I actually didn't listen to any of the singles that came out, so I went into this pretty blind. And one of the first things I try to pay attention to when I'm listening to an album is the production, and I gotta say the production on this thing fits the mood and the emotion and the intention of the album really well. The vocals come off feeling very raw in a sense. They're still kind of polished up a little bit, but they're very just fierce and in your face, and the mix sits with them really well. And the music is a little bit more polished up. It feels a little bit more modern sounding in a way. It's just the contrast between the two, where you have music that sounds really just tight and just really clear. Then you have vocals that are kind of just scratchy and all over the place. It works really well. And the first song on the album, which is also the title track song, A Quiet Place to Die, starts out like an intro to like a horror movie or some kind of suspense movie. But once the main riff kicks in, holy hell, that thing is just fat. And this whole album is chock full of just fat, juicy, brilliant guitar riffs. And there's even a little bit of a melodic guitar in the background just to add a little bit of texture here and there. And the drum work is phenomenal. And the lyrics kick ass as well, too. This is not quite what I expected from the band, especially after their last albums and some of the singles from the past. I wasn't expecting them to kind of go in this more metalcore direction when they're slightly more new metal sounding, but I kind of like the way how it's going. The next song on the album, Creep, I gotta admit that I don't hate this song and I don't really dislike it, but at the same time, I don't love it. It's got this guitar riff that sounds good, but it also has a kind of a buzzsaw kind of tone to it. The drum work sounds great as well. The vocals are almost cringy at times, just on the vocal tones that they hit, and just the just the tonal choices that they make. Vocals get kind of cringy. The lyrics are kind of, I mean, they're all right, they're decent, but the main thing is that there's a synth part that plays behind the music, and it pops up at different times, and honestly, it just sounds like a squeaky wheel. That's all it sounds like. It sounds like a wheel that needs to be oiled, and somebody in the background is just kind of spinning it around. I also enjoyed the song Rotten Pieces, which has some gent influences to it. The music is pretty solid. The lyrics are pretty hostile and aggressive and show a lot of disdain towards somebody. But the main thing is, again, just the riffs, the guitar work, the drum work. It's all phenomenal. It's like a 4-minute long song, 4-minute, 45-second long song. And if you dislike this entire song, it is worth it just to get to like the last minute or like 50 seconds. Because there's like this suspenseful building up breakdown. And then once it comes in, it's just huge. And the vocals are just insane. It's just some good songwriting, specifically in the outro, and that right there is enough to win me over on this song. I also liked the song Bleed For You, which was a complete curveball, because when you're explaining this album to somebody, you wouldn't use the words beautiful, and that's what this song is. It is absolutely beautiful. This is a fantastic song, just full of emotion, and it's got a beautiful female vocalist where I'm not even sure who it was. If you guys know who the vocalist is in this, that does the female part in it, she is phenomenal. Her voice is fantastic, and it's used so well. A lot of times when they bring in a female vocalist, they use her as a point of climax in the song, as opposed to adding just more texture to the rest of the song. They try and put her as the showpiece, and they didn't do that in this song, and it works. It just works so well. So yeah, if you guys know who that vocalist, leave a comment below letting me know who it is, because I'm really curious. And the next song after Bleed For You is Ultra-Violet Violence. Not Ultraviolet Violence, Ultra-Violet Violence. And that song is pretty much just made for moshing. It's very, very chuggy. The pacing in it is very broken up. The lyrics are kind of hit or miss here and there. And I kind of wasn't expecting it. after a song like Bleed For You, especially since it just goes from being really peaceful and, like I said, just beautiful, and then it goes into this song where you just want to start throwing fists around, but it works out really well. It flows into it really. I don't know. It's just really well done. It's good songwriting. I didn't really enjoy the song all that much. It isn't like a favorite or anything, but it worked well together and it fits in the album pretty well too. The song Akudama, which was one of the singles that was released and one that I looked forward to quite a bit. Akudama is a Japanese term for like a bad character or like a villain in a story. And you guys are probably tired of me saying this, but the guitar riffs are just, they're so good. Every song on this album has just fat, juicy guitar riffs. So just expect me to say that on probably every single song. And the drum work, again, is fantastic. It just works so well. There isn't really one that outshines the other. And the guitars in this song are a little bit more dynamic than some of the other songs, I will admit. The lyrics in this song can be a little repetitive. The vocals, they sound better than some of the other songs, I will admit. This is definitely a solid single and a solid, just a breakout song for this album. If you want somebody to get into this album, this is the song to show them. And I believe it's a little bit more political, and it calls out kind of corrupt politicians and even has references to the French Revolution, where people who were in charge or people who had higher offices got the guillotine for being corrupt. And I believe there's some references to that, especially with, like lyrics like take your head off and stuff like that. And this is the part where I might lose some of you guys, because there are some songs on this album that I didn't enjoy all that much. One of them is Golden Fate Isolates, which is the third and final part of a 3-song series. The first one being Golden Fate Water Break. The second one was Golden Fate Gut Ache, I believe. And Isolate is, lyrically, I believe it's about the vocalist having somebody close to him who decides to take their own life, and in doing so, he's filled with a lot of anger and confusion, and he's trying to figure out why this person would do that, knowing that it would hurt him and the people like around him, especially with lyrics like "No metaphors, you took your own life, where's my goodbye?" There's a lot of, dare I say, bitterness in that, which, I mean, is totally understandable. Yeah, you can have all the anger and everything you want when dealing with something like that. The lyrics in this song are not bad. They do get a little repetitive, so they do get kind of, dare I say, boring at times. And the guitar work, the drum work, and it's phenomenal. The vocals are kind of hit or miss for me, but one thing I do want to point out is I did love the Death Note reference in this song. The Death Note is a manga, or it's an anime. I have the manga series right there. It's those kind of black and white. They're actually multiple colors, but they look black and white right there. And I loved that reference. The rest of the song for me was, I didn't like it, but I didn't like that reference. Kudos to you. Also didn't like the song Acid Romance, which, it's just one big breakdown. That's all it kind of is. And it starts at the beginning, it's heavy, and it keeps building, and then it peaks in the outro. And like, the music was good. Again, the drum work was good. It just doesn't stand out to me nearly as much as the other songs on here. Yeah, it's got a great riff, but almost every song does, and a lot of them have better riffs. And this one just didn't do it for me. I also didn't really enjoy the song The Mind Bends to a Will of Its Own. The vocals in it, everything, it's got some good creativity, sounds good. It's a good sounding song. The drum work, guitar work, all of it's fantastic, but honestly, it just kind of sounds like recycled music and writing from all the other songs, like stuff that didn't really fit in any of the other songs. It's kind of like a filler song, I feel like, which none of the other songs on this album are. So when I heard this, it's like, what? It's just, it could have done without it, I guess. And then there's a song Restricted R18 Plus, which it should be restricted, and people who are only over 18 should hear it, because it is extremely violent. And that's not even what I don't like about the song. The thing I don't like about it is just the writing it has. It sounds like something that Attila would put out. And I know that's going to be offensive to some of you guys, but yeah, it was just very hostile, just for the sake of being hostile and angry and cool and really edgy. and it just came off more cringy than anything else. At least to me it did. And the last song on the album, Don't Ask, is a phenomenal song. This song is probably the peak of the whole album, even though it wouldn't make any sense and it probably won't hit you as hard if you don't listen to the whole album first. It just ties it all together, and it is a powerful, powerful ending. Even though the vocals and the music in it is just fierce and cutthroat, it's very vulnerable. And the lyrics, he's like wearing his heart on his sleeve. It's very open, and it's kind of like a tearjerker in a way, which is kind of weird to say if you're getting sad over a song that honestly sounds this brutal. But yeah, the lyrics are where it's at, and the vocals, there's a lot of just passion and pain in his vocals, and it definitely hits hard. I loved this song. It, like I said, powerful ending, ties it all together beautifully. With all that said, I gotta give A Quiet Place to Die by Alpha Wolf a 7.2 out of 10. I do realize that this is a fairly mixed review, and honestly, some of the praise I gave it can also be taken in a negative way. The guitar writing and the riffs and all that, like I said, they're fantastic. There's not a whole lot of diversity amongst them. So honestly, like, even though they're all pretty fat and juicy and sound great and make you want to get up and start moving, they do all kind of sound the same after a while. And even though there's some synth parts in there and some more electronic things that are thrown in the background that don't really come off sounding all that great, they do add more texture to the song, and they do kind of make it feel more out of the box, and it gives it more of a creative touch to it. And even though the vocals can be a little brash and harsh at sometimes, again, it's emotion. There's a lot of emotion in the vocals, and other times when the lyrics aren't really all that great, they're still very open and vulnerable. So yeah, like, things that suck on this album can actually be pretty good, and the things that are pretty good on this album can become kind of overdone and boring at the same time. But I would like to know what you guys think. If you've listened to A Quiet Place to Die or any of the songs, even the singles, go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know what you thought. If you haven't listened to it, go ahead and give it a listen, at least a couple of the singles, and let me know what you would rate it. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like. If you are a Alpha Wolf fan, feel free to give it a dislike, but at the same time, let me know why you think this album deserves a higher score or why it deserves a lower score. Like I said, it's kind of mixed reviews from either side. People either love it or they kind of hate it. So I'd like to know what you guys think. Plus, I'm giving you my opinion, so I'd like to hear yours. And I am also doing Request Wednesdays. So if you got anything you want me to review, new or old, single, EP, album, whatever, leave a comment below letting me know what it is. I will throw it up on the whiteboard. And every single Wednesday, I am doing a review on one of the selections off of the whiteboard. And if you do that, or you just happen to like what you see here and you enjoy my reviews, feel free to subscribe and click the bell icon. That way you don't miss out on any of my future reviews, especially if you leave a request, because sometimes that does happen, and that just makes me sad when the person misses out on their review that they requested. And doing any of those things helps me out so much. It helps my channel, helps my self-esteem, everything. I appreciate it. Even if you stop by and give me a thumbs down, tell me I suck, I have no clue what I'm talking about. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my video and let me know what you thought. And with that said, I hope you guys are all staying safe. I hope you all have a good rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you next time. I was